What's up, everybody? Welcome, Peter Exis O'Coffer here, and welcome to another episode of Nothing But the Funk. This episode is tentatively titled Funk, the Straw That Stirs the Hip Hop Drink. Now, for baseball fans, back in the day, not a big New York Yankees fan, but I'm a big Reggie Jackson fan, and the saying in the late 70s, for the Yankees in the early 80s when Reggie played for the Yankees was he was Mr. October, the straw that stirred the drink, and Mr. October because he showed up in the playoffs. Particularly Game 6 against Los Angeles Dodgers. Mr. Jackson hit 3 home runs in that game. The only one that hit 3 home runs in the World Series game. Game 6, won the game, won the series in 6. I mean, hey, you're a kid of the 70s, a sports fan. That's what you kind of grow up and want to do is, hit the game-winning home run and lead off and win the World Series and in the process shut the World Series down. So the straw that stirred the drink, the hip-hop drink. Yeah, so people are like, where'd the funk go? Well, I got news for you. The funk ain't going anywhere, okay? The funk is alive and well in hip-hop. Let's kind of frame the question here, so to speak. So, hip-hop, to be successful in hip-hop, you need to get what I call, what's called street cred, or what I call being street legal. I mean, it has to have an edge. It has to be a little dangerous. It has to be, at least some of your songs. I mean, not all of them have to be that way. But there's two ways. I mean, to get street legal and in hip hop, and one is to go gangsta and talk about selling drugs and shooting folks and that kind of stuff, and the other is to drop the funk, and particularly that fat bass. I mean, the hook, and there's hooks in different places in songs depending on the genre, and you got a nice fat bass line, that will make people, make that ass shake. I mean, that body move, that's the groove. That's what people, remember, and that's what moves them. So, but the funk is very, very alive in hip hop today. And, I did do my, in the middle of the Drake versus Kendrick Lamar, I did do, my take on that rivalry and graded on several, criteria, the quality of the songs and this. I didn't get into the content because, I mean, they were making shit up. And, hey, come on. Folks are trying to fact check. Nothing's come out of all those allegations, and I'll just leave it at that. Some pretty vicious things said, considering that none of it is, looks like it's true. But I looked at, the quality of the songs, since I do personal branding and how musicians brand on the channel, I looked at, what it did for each artist brand and what it said about each artist and the relationship to the brand that they've created. And then just the strategy of when they drop stuff and then responding to the other and that kind of stuff. So I came to the conclusion that, in all three of those categories, Kendrick, won all three of those categories. Although I do think Push-Ups was the best song, because I'm a funk guy first, and but I did think Push-Ups, because it's the funkiest song, and the 7 or 8 songs released in that battle. And I'm a funk guy first. One of my friends was like, well, you do jazz, you put all that, you do a lot of experimentation in your music, like Kendrick. And I was like, yeah, those are the 3 things I talk about in the channel. I have to stick to the rules. But one of the things I said, it'll be interesting because, I think, the battle they don't go after Drake if Drake's, sticks to his brand and, doesn't wander off trying to do gangster Drake. And we, come on, we know good Drake ain't a gangster. So this part of the thing that is inspiring is because, the other realm, if you're not a gangster, you can't pull that off. The other realm is to do the funk. And so does Drake know anything about the funk? Well, listen to 0 to 100, listen to Energy, listen to Jumpman, listen to Started from the Bottom and The Motto. I mean, those are probably, Drake's biggest street legal songs outside of, the sprinkling he did with Knife Talking Jimmy Crooks. And I don't have a problem with Knife Talking Jimmy Crooks. I don't, because, you're doing short stories that are rooted in gangsters. But when you do, two albums are, very gangsta heavy and you're not a gangster, then folks are just kind of like, this ain't your brand, Drake. Come on. Yeah, but we'll see, hopefully Drake, finds his way back to the funk and becomes King Drake again because, Drake is at his best when he's sprinkling in the funk. But if you can't do the gangster and you're a man in rap, it's hard. I mean, Eminem had to, it took me a while to figure this out, but he had to invent an alter ego so he could do gangster shit, Slim Shady. He had to make up a character. Machine Gun Kelly couldn't make up a character because, he would have been, biting Eminem. And so he basically had to leave, although I like Machine Gun Kelly's songs and whatnot, and, when he was, doing hip hop, he did gangster stuff, but we knew he wasn't a gangster. So that's the real, Machine Gun Kelly probably should have, if he was going to stick around in the rap game, he probably should have doubled down and gone into to the funk. Now he's doing punk or pop punk or whatever. It'll be interesting to see what happens with Jack Harlow because, what's his song? I can't think of this, but the song here in 2024 that's hit big, it's kind of funky. And, but he's, if he doesn't stick to the funk, he ain't going to be around very long. Yeah, so Jack Harlow's big hit this year is Lovin' on Me. So, here's the plot twist though. I mean, most of these female rappers, aren't trying to be gangster. They're not trying to, be Rock from Power, or Monet from Power, or, where I'm going. But the female rock, you look at the majority of their biggest songs, and it's rooted in the funk. Megan Thee Stallion, Wanna Be with Gorilla, WAP, that shit, Her, Savage. I mean, all that stuff is rooted in the funk. I mean, Best Friends with Saweetie and Doja Cat. I mean, these songs either have the fat bass or they have that fat 808 bass drum, So yeah, I mean, let's go through this list. Gorilla, TGIF, 60 Red, Get It Sexy, Looking for the Hose, Lotto, Big Energy, sampling the Tom Tom Club with Genius of Love, Put It on the Floor with Cardi B. Cardi B, I Like It, Hot Shit, Ice Spice, Barbie World, Princess Diana, Munch. I mean, all these songs are rooted in the funk. And, Nicki Minaj, Bees in the Trap, Super Freaky Girl. I mean, that's, she samples Rick James, Super Freak. FDCU, Va Va Voom, Truffle Butter. I mean, so she's, all these songs I just, rattle off are rooted in the funk. And, has credibility in the streets. I mean, folks aren't like all that soft. So yeah, funk is alive and well. It's just in a different genre, and look, hip hop is rooted in funk. If there's no funk, there's no hip hop. So yeah, I just wanted to jump in and connect some dots for you today. Give the funk pioneers the love they deserve, and whatnot. So yeah, so let me hit this ending here. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, leave some comments. I have 5 albums of my own. I record under the name Exodus, Xodus. My first album is called Book 1. My albums are here on my YouTube channel. They're connected here, and I'm also on all of the streaming services. And I do have 2 science fiction fantasy novels and a novella under the name Peter Exodus Okafor on Amazon. So thanks again for coming through, and I will see you next episode.